Hi, so I had found a lot of books that had interesting pictures in them, but there were a few that really stuck out to me. So the first one that I liked was The Loud Book, and this book was very interesting because it was really about um, these two animals that looked to me like a bunny and a bear, and those two animals stick with us throughout the whole story. So we see them, the same two animals the whole time. And then it's just all of these different activities that they do that are really loud. And for if I was reading this book to the class, what I would do is have them close their eyes and try and have them picture and imagine that happening in their head first, because it's just like surprise loud. So then just have them like think about something surprising when they think it's loud, and like how when there's a fire truck day, and when you drop your school tray at lunch, or a thunderstorm. Just let them imagine it being loud in their head first, and then I'd probably go through and read them the book and then actually show them the stories, because it's just really cool letting it each picture go along with exactly like there's the thunderstorm, you see them just freaking out in the rain, and just it looks very chaotic and hectic, like it would be loud since it's called The Loud Book. Or another one that I really liked was Spilling Your Marbles in the Library Loud, because you can't tell that they're in the library there, but I just imagine them being very quiet, like you're supposed to be in the library, because there's only a few books in the uh, books pictured in the book. So then just showing them that there's a few, but letting them imagine themselves being in the library. And then the other one that I really liked was called Color Zoo by Lewis Elhert. And for this one, it was just very cool. Like the pictures were nothing like I had ever seen before, and these illustrations were just very interactive, because you start with like the Color Zoo, because that's the name of this one. And then like you start with something big, like they have a tiger, and then when you flip the page, all it does is take off what's on that picture. And then now you have a mouse, and then it turns into another shape, a circle. So then you just get to teach students lots of different like animals and shapes, just by starting out with one illustration. It's like taking one piece off and it's still something new, and then keeping exactly what you have but only taking one thing off and something new again. And then it starts over like with a monkey. So just a lot, it happens a lot of different times throughout the book. Then you take one thing off and now you have a deer, and it was just very colorful, and it kept my attention the whole time because of the amount of shapes it was using, and different animals and colors was very drawing to the eye. And then this one I liked was Pat the Bunny by Dorothy Cunhart, and it's a very small book, but great things come in small packages, I'm told. And this one is about how, just once again, very interactive. Like it shows Judy can pat the bunny, and then it has fur so that you can pat the bunny. And those are my favorite types of books, especially for like toddlers, because then it says Judy can play peekaboo, and then there's actually for the kids to play peekaboo right in the book, which I think is super awesome. And then my favorite one was Judy can read her book, and then now you read, and then there's literally a little tiny book on this one page inside the other book. So I think that this picture just has great illustrations to keep you interacted and actually doing something while you're reading the book. And then this book was Little Rat Makes Music by Monica Bain Campbell. And it was different than all the other ones I had picked because it was longer. So I wasn't really sure what to expect when I first opened it and I saw like chapter 3. And I didn't really know what to expect for illustrations as far as it goes with being in a picture book. But it actually turned out being pretty cool. Like, so there weren't as many illustrations, obviously, because this one is more towards an older age group now that there's more words on the page, but you could definitely tell what they were doing throughout the book. And just like the Color Zoo one, this one was very colorful, and um, it just is about a rat and a cat, mainly about the rat who is trying to play the violin. But I like that what was different about this one was it had these like bubbles, for the, like, even though they're not words in the speech bubbles, it's kind of showing what the little rat is thinking in his head, because it said little rat went home and thought, I have to memorize this, I have to keep my violin, but my violin squawks, and just has all of these different thoughts going throughout his head. So I like that it actually showed like the thought bubble coming out of his head and then everything that he was thinking. Just a great illustration of what happens when we have a million thoughts running through our head at a time. And then just once again how colorful it was, and it kept your attention even though you're reading. Like this, you can tell that it's snowing out because it was decorated with little white lights and candles. The church was, and little rat thought it was magical. And to me this looks very magical because it's just a great sight to see. And then you could also, what I noticed about this one was the illustrations could really show the emotions of the characters. So we can see how happy the rats look in this one because little rat had just finished her performance, which was really cool to be able to tell not just physical pictures like shapes and animals from the ones before, but now actually putting emotions of the characters with the with what they were thinking. And then the last book that I found was 10 Birds, which I actually found on getepic.com, the app. And this one was different because it was in black and white, which at first I was like, oh, I'm not really sure what I'm going to think of a book that's in black and white, especially for kids at a younger age. But what it was doing was it was actually counting down numbers because it was in the counting section. So it started out with 10 birds, and then it would actually show a shape of the number of, so like there were 10 birds and they were trying to get across, and then each one kept leaving, and then it would tell you how the other bird that just left got across, but it would kind of give you predictions. So like first we'd see an example was there was a number 5 made out of balloons because there were only 5 birds left once number 6 left, and then we see that bird being floated over using balloons. So they were using this material that was making an actual number, so they're working on their counting and then putting it to use. And then I'd actually gone back after I read it and looked at the first few pages, and then I see all of the stuff that they use. Like one of them had used a catapult, and then those balloons, and then the last one had used a bridge, and then we see all of those different materials that they had used to get over the bridge in the first few pages. So they were like foreshadowing and predicting, trying to get us to think like, oh, what are all these shapes and different material going to be used for, because there's no words on the first few pages, just all the material that they end up using. And then we see the words later on in the story. So I thought that one was really cool. And it was just a great reminder of how illustrations can really tell you what's going on in the book. And it also is a way for the author to let you kind of use your own brain to make up part of the story if you want. Like, oh, this is how they use the catapult, because it doesn't actually say, it just says they got over to the other side, and then you get to determine how they're doing it based off of the material that they show you. So out of all the 5 books, I just really like them because of the great amount of illustrations, and they were all different in their own way. So thank you.